Hi. Hello. Hello. Um, it's Red Sphere here. I'm going to be talking about Recontact programming and yeah. So the first thing is obviously what Recontact programming is. That's uh quite a yeah obviously as the name suggests, it's programming there to encourage or force contact to be put back into place and rejoined between the victim and abusers. The ideal form, and that is in very heavy quotation marks because you know not it's yeah um you know not what you want as a victim, but is what is aimed for often in the programming is pulled straight is a full pull straight back into the orbit of the abusers. That is the desired outcome, effectively. The why also relatively self-explanatory. Obviously, pulling victims back into um the uh back end is useful. It allows for relationships to be rebuilt and yeah, uh, own just as toxic forms, obviously, and it also allows for old programming to be reinforced again, and for new programming to be added in. It's yeah, the how comes to obviously there's the training to get in touch directly through the use of more expected contact through forced contact and then punishment when that doesn't happen, when that contact is missed. So that's the simpler, faster option. It's effective, but it's not particularly refined an option. So it is commonly used in addition to training to respond to attempted contact measures. So, for example, you might be trained to always answer the phone no matter who's calling. You know, unknown number, you still pick up the phone. It's one option. There. Obviously, regularly checking in on emails and physical posts, other electronic forms of communication as well. Those are all part and parcel. and that training is done in a very similar manner. You check and you answer, or you get punished. Often that's how that's done. There is also, of course, the option of creating trauma bonds with other victims. That and of course, healthy relate even putting in the odd healthy relationship is often part of the deal. Um, these are often healthy relationships. Yeah. So these create obviously a more legitimate longing and desire for contact that is harder to avoid, and feels less justified in avoiding because it's a legitimately healthy relationship, or there's a legitimate bond there. Yeah. Um, so, you're put in a position of actually missing the abusers and or other victims who are not safe to contact because there's no way of knowing if they're still in contact with the abusers, and if they are, obviously it's unsafe to be in contact with them. So creating, you know, longing and missing for them is helpful. You know, and it's especially common to use other victims for this contact because it's more likely to feel safe, especially if you've not figured everything out. You can go, yeah, but I can talk to XYZ person. They didn't hurt me, or they only hurt me under duress. They're safe to contact, and that's the point. Is to make it seem like there are people who it would be safe to contact, who, of course, it is still unsafe to contact. That is why they are there. You know, and of course, there is the whole oh, um, it's relatively common to have cueing behavior and methods of talking and the like between victims, and have that come up in contact forms. So that can, of course, include cues for more dangerous forms of contact again, such as contacting abusers or the like. Can also just be other harmful cues, or so yeah, that's one reason why it's obviously a risk. Yeah. So yeah, and obviously contact. Yeah. see. And of course, there's the risk of guilt tripping unintentionally from safe lifers in other victims who don't see the risk, who don't see the hazard because of being safe lifers, and who then guilt trip you into recontact because, as far as they can tell, everything is safe. So your concerns and risks get brushed away, and that's not necessarily. I mean, that's somewhat deliberate on the organisation's part, but is very understandable from a victim's perspective. So that's obviously a concern as well. There, yeah. In terms of deprogramming, so one helpful step that's not strictly deprogramming, but is still a useful step to take, is in purging contact options. So rather than just going, I'm not going to call this person, you block the number and delete the contact from your phone. And potentially just completely deleting certain accounts. So like Facebook account, for example, it may be easier to simply remove it from existence rather than go through and try and clean through to only the safe contacts on your Facebook. That's one option there. So yeah, and another thing to do is when there is guilt over a lack of contact is to have someone else remind them why that contact is stopped. You know, having that reminder that things were unhealthy and harmful and dangerous, rather than depending purely on everyone's individual memories of the harm, pooling that to some degree, so that people can pull on each other's reminders as to why contact is bad, is helpful. Obviously, it's not surefire, but it's valuable. That's one thing that can be done. Yeah, okay. So, and obviously, working through fear-based recontact is a matter of obviously actually making it safe to not recontact by working through with any internal controllers who are there to punish a lack of recontact, and working through deprogramming with them. I think there's a video on internal controllers. If we've got a video on internal controllers, we'll link to it in the description if you want to check that out. Otherwise, yeah, obviously I am working with internal controllers to deprogram them first, and then getting it understood that it is safe not to recontact, and will continue to be safe to not recontact for as long as you don't recontact, is quite valuable, and is the good way of going about that effectively for that fear-based recontact programming, which is yeah. Okay. I think that's everything. This system signing out. Hope to catch you all next week. Please do remember to like, subscribe, comment, especially if you've got any questions you want answered. Be happy to answer them either in the comments or in another video. So catch you all next week.